Hello and a warm welcome to the final whistle with me, Kenzie, Benali.
And me, Steve Forbes.
Well, it finishes 4-1 here in the capital at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Former Saints captain Dean Hammond is still alongside us to talk us through that one. Dean, we feared that today could be a tough opener for Southampton. What were your thoughts on that game?
Exactly that, Kenzie. I think there will be some disappointment within the group. I think up to an hour, the game was pretty even. Tottenham were 2-1 up, 2-1 in front, and Southampton were actually probably having the best spell of the game at that point. From that point, the game got away from them. The game got stretched, and Tottenham took control of it and looked very, very impressive. But there's definitely some positives. The way the team started, I think the shape worked first half. Defensively, there was that stability, some technical details and a little bit of details that always can be worked on individually and collectively. A brilliant goal from James Ward-Prowse, a few good moments, but ultimately they came up against a team that looked very strong, very hungry, and determined to put a performance on in front of the home fan in the first game of the season, and they did that, and they kind of finished the game comfortably, which would be the disappointment. But you look at it, and the Southampton players look in good condition, which is a positive for the remainder of the season. Remember, this is only the first game of the season against one of the teams that are going to look to probably challenge, whether the title's too much for them, but definitely challenge for the Champions League. So yeah, there will be some frustrations within the group, but there was moments and stuff to definitely work on and move forward in the season.
Well, let's talk about that opener from James Ward-Prowse, because it was a great start to the match from Southampton. Jan Valery involved in winning the ball back, Moussa Djenepo with a lovely looping cross over to our captain to finish the piece. What did you make of it?
Well, probably an example of where the shape did work in the first half, Steve, where the three centre-halves, whatever side the ball was on, one of the centre-halves could go and join in. Jan Valery there could go and press, and he won the ball back, showing real determination, playing on the front foot. It's a switcher play then, the ball gets out to Djenepo, who's nice and positive, and actually goes to cross it, feints it, and just delays it and chips it back. Whether he's picking James Ward-Prowse out, I don't know. But again, I'm sure as that ball's floating, James Ward-Prowse's eyes will light up. It's a brilliant technique. He doesn't try to hit it too hard. He gets a clean contact, clean strike on it, hits it into the ground. Frank Lampard used to do that a lot, and hit it into the ground, and doesn't really give Lloris a chance. And it was a brilliant start for Southampton, who had moments of possession before that goal, and looked pretty confident in possession as well, playing through the midfield, coming back out, switching play. So I wouldn't say it would have deserved lead, but it was pretty even. But a great finish from James Ward-Prowse, and he started how he's finished the season really. But superb technique, and Djenepo in that first half was a threat on the left-hand side. But that's where I felt the shape worked, where Southampton were brave. They would allow one of the three centre-halves. They wouldn't just sit in. They would allow one of the centre-halves to see it, go and commit and win the ball back. And Jan Valery did that in that moment.
Well, Tottenham equalised with Sessegnon heading in at the far post. How could Southampton potentially have dealt with that better?
Look, it's a brilliant delivery. It really is, and I think this is where the small detail comes in. And it's really easy for me to stand up here and say, well, they could have done this or could have done that. I've been there down on the pitch, and it moves 100 miles an hour, and you have to react. The delivery's fantastic. Could Kyle Walker-Peters have just opened his body out and been aware of Sessegnon coming behind him? Yes, I think so. Is his body shaped the wrong way round? Potentially, but it's difficult. It's such a good delivery. And as well, can we get more pressure on the ball? As that ball comes backwards, can we get out and try and press it? Make it a little bit harder to put that quality of delivery in. Don't allow on that time and space, because a player of that quality can pick a delivery out like that. And it's a really, really good finish from Sessegnon. But there's just moments within that action that you would think, could we do a little bit better? And it's only a couple of steps out to the ball, maybe using your arm to feel where the defender is, or change your body shape, or just being a little bit more aware. But again, it's the first game of the season, and it's easy for me to say that. But these are the things where you learn, and you will look at it and you will analyse it on the video. That's where it's so important, and try and improve it as a player and as a team. But let's give credit to Tottenham. It was a really good delivery and a really good finish.
Well, it was another wicked ball in for Eric Dyer to nod Spurs in front. Was our back line a little suspect there?
Well, it was a second action, I think if I remember rightly, a second action of a set piece, where sometimes a set piece you can get misplaced and find yourself in not your natural position. Jan Valery wins the header from the set piece for the second action, and then he comes out to press the ball, where you would expect Kyle Walker-Peters to be there, but he's with his man. Could Jan Valery get a little bit closer again to the ball? Song's probably got a bit too much time on the ball to maybe pick a pass. It's good movement from Dyer, but Aribo again, he was there, he had contact with Dyer. I'm not saying he could have stayed with him because he was the wrong side, but could he put him under a little bit more pressure? And again, that communication in the back three. Sometimes when you're playing it in the back three, one of your players can be spared because you've got no one to mark. So Jan Bednarak could have come across a little bit more. Again, it's 1 or 2 steps, but does he get the information from Salisu, from Oriol Romeo behind him to tell him to be able to go and release? Because he could have had the instruction, I'm supposed to stay in this area, and any ball comes in, I'm the one that's going to try and clear it. So again, the game is moving very, very quickly, and it's easy for me to say, but it's the small details that can prevent those goals. And again, but it is really good delivery, it's really good movement, and again, it's a good header, I think, from Dyer, where he goes and dives it in and gets a thin contact on it and goes in the far corner. So they can be prevented, but again, it's moments you learn on. How can we stop these goals? Because Southampton going in at 2-1 in the first half, not the end of the world, but a 1-1 could have been even better.
Well, let's talk about Southampton's 2 changes at the break then, Dean. Jan Valery off for Jack Stevens and Adam Armstrong off for Stuart Armstrong. What do you think Ralph's thinking was there?
I'm not sure. Obviously, it's a personnel change. I don't think that the shape changed at all. Maybe a little bit with Stuart Armstrong for Adam Armstrong. Stuart Armstrong can come a little bit deeper and maybe get more involved in the play and run with the ball instead of Adam Armstrong trying to go in behind. Rebo then ended up going a little bit higher and was more of a focal point, more of a target man, like Shay Adams would be in the team. Not sure that quite worked. And Jack Stevens coming on from Jan Valery. I can't think if Jan Valery got booked. There may have been an injury there, or just a tactical change where he thought Jack could bring something different to the team, whether that was defensively or with the ball. But it worked. For the first, if you look up until the third goal, Southampton had actually got on top and were having a period of possession, a period of time in Tottenham's half, which I didn't really have in the first half. So from that point of view, you could say it worked because they were having, like I say, more possession, more passes, getting more crosses into the box, a couple of set pieces, but then Tottenham break away and get that third goal, and then it all changes then, and the game is probably over from that point of view. But it worked to a point. Could it have made the difference? We'll never know, because I think that third goal was so important for Tottenham. But if it could have stayed at 2-1 for a little bit longer, who knows?
You talk about that sustained pressure from Southampton, and ultimately that's when Spurs nicked 2 goals to kind of put the game to bed. Did the 4-1 scoreline really reflect the game today?
I think towards the end, maybe. If you look at the overall game, I think Tottenham probably they scored 4 goals and probably had 4 or 5 other opportunities where they could have scored and probably should have scored as well. So is 4-1 a true reflection? Was it a really dominant Tottenham performance where they overrun Southampton and looked a level above in moments, but not over the whole game? Like I say, up to 2-1, up to 60 minutes, I think it was pretty even. Maybe Tottenham just slightly edged it, but I think they just, once you're 3-1 up at home, you've got the crowd behind you, the players play with that little bit more freedom, that quality comes out. Maybe Southampton try and chase the game a little bit more and the game opens up. Again, where the disappointment might be with just the timing of the goals. The third goal can be prevented. I think it's an individual mistake, which happens. You know, Salisu just can't quite get his body in the right position, can't quite sort his feet out in time. But then it's the 4th goal. It happens, 2-3 minutes later. I think that's where you come together as a group and say, look, we need to see out the next 5-10 minutes. Can we stay in the game? Can we maybe try and get back in the game a little bit later on? But the game's lost then at 4-1, and Tottenham are comfortable. They keep possession and make the pitch really big. So it's difficult, but these are moments you learn from as a group. And it's a young group as well. They're still developing, and let's not get carried away. It's the first game of the season against Tottenham Hotspur. I remember when I was first at Southampton, you know, we lost the first game of the season against Plymouth Argyle in League One, so it's not too bad. We're in the Premier League.
Yeah, we've got to look on the bright side. As you say, we've got a long season ahead, and as you say, plenty of positives to take from that performance as well. Well, let's have a word on Bazunu, Lavia and Aribo, the Southampton debutants today. How did they do for you?
I thought Lavia was excellent, especially in the first half. I think he looked really composed in possession. His awareness was very good, whether he was trying to intercept balls or getting balls so he could start playing and be in possession. He looked really fit as well. He got around the pitch. There was a couple of times where Tottenham broke and his recovery runs were very, very good. So I think he had an impressive performance in that midfield play and anchored the midfield very, very well and gave that, we use that word again, a bit of stability in there to allow again the fullbacks to go a little bit higher, to allow a centre half to break through, and he just filled in. So I thought he did very well. The goalkeeper, difficult to say really, because I'm not sure. If you look at it, could he have saved any of the goals? Probably not. He made a fine save in the first half. I can't think who was it against, but he made a really, really good save to his left hand side, strong hand. In possession was fine. So it's difficult to judge him on that performance, but he did okay, and it'll be good for him as well. He gets his Premier League debut out of the way. The nerves and anxiety can go from that. He can stop thinking about that, and now he can progress his Southampton career. And Aribo, difficult for him, I think. He had moments where he looked technically good. I think his strongest position is playing off a front man and not being the main target man, even though he's physically strong enough to do that. But didn't really have the support or chances. But, you know, he had that chance in the second half where Lloris made a really, really good save with a run in behind from him, timed the run really, really well, and a good strike. So they all did fine. Look, Southampton did fine today. I think that's the word. They were just playing against a good Tottenham team who looked really strong and fit in the last 20 minutes of the game.
Looking ahead to Leeds next weekend, is a response needed, or is it a bit too early to be putting pressure on Ralph's man?
I don't think a response is needed. You'll want it as a player. You always want to respond after a defeat. But it's the first home game of the season, and it will be a fixture that the players will look at, the manager will look at, and think we can win this game. And like I say, it's the first home game of the season. What you want to do is start your home form really, really well. Can you get 3 points? Can you put a good performance in? Can you keep a clean sheet? Those sort of things that they will work on. There's lots of stuff that the team and players can take from today into that. I think potentially Leeds won today, or they were winning, so their tails will be up. But look at it, Southampton at home at St Mary's, start fast, start on the front foot. Will the manager change the formation? Will he change the personnel? Who knows? The new signings get an extra week to bed in with the group and tactically understand what the manager wants and build the relationships with the players on and off the pitch, so that's a positive. But it's a game that Southampton can definitely win, and if they do, I said to Steve before the show, you know, would we take a draw at Tottenham and a draw at home, or do you know what, would we take a defeat here with a performance and a win at home against Leeds? You definitely take the 3 points. So the season almost starts at the weekend against Leeds, and let's look forward to the fixture.
Good stuff. Well, Dean, thank you very much for joining us here on Saints Live and on the final whistle. It's been a nice day out, hasn't it, here in North London? Yeah, and a fantastic venue. Ultimately, it was defeat for Southampton on the opening day of the new Premier League season, but we'll be back at St Mary's next weekend for the visit of Leeds United. We'll have another Saints Live for you then. So from all of us here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Bye for now.